What's up, Mob Crew? I'm Chris, and today we're going to go over top 5 facts and misinformation about the Idaho student case, including the glove that was found on Thanksgiving. Was it there since day one? I have that answer for you and much more in today's video. Also, today's missing person case is Lucian Mungaya from Yakima, Washington. He went missing in September. He will be featured at the end of my video, so please stay until the end for that. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the channel, everybody, where we cover murder, mystery, to the paranormal. Alright guys, fact 1. Was there snow on the ground when that murders happened? I was just listening to a recent podcast with Nancy Grace where she was talking about wondering if the Hyundai Elantra had four-wheel drive because she was more or less stating that there was snow on the ground when the murders took place. But that is completely wrong. So we're going to go ahead and look at some before and after photos. And so this reporter was there on that first day. We got all the cars still parked there. As you can see, there is just a few splotches of snow here and there, but the driveway, the road leading up, there is no snow. There was some snow on the ground. As you can see, light snow. The snow didn't come until like 3 or 4 days later. So here is some before photos of day 1 or day 2. And this is what it looked like closer to the second week. I'm not sure exactly what day it snowed, but at least for the first couple of days, there was no snow on the ground like this. So in that recent interview or recent podcast with Nancy Grace talking about that they wonder if the Hyundai Elantra could even get up this hill because of all the snow is actually completely wrong, because there was no snow on the ground, at least in the roads. The roads were clear. And as we can see, here's an overhead look of, I believe, day 1, maybe day 2. I'm pretty sure this is day 1 though. And all we can see is just some light areas where probably the sun doesn't quite get to these certain spots where the snow's at. But other than that, we can see the roads are clear. Okay, now moving on to the glove that was found by Chris McDonald, which was on Thanksgiving Day. So the murders took place on the 13th. So I think it was approximately 11 days later that this glove was found. So here's the picture of the glove. The glove is actually found. He was walking this way here. And this is a picture from day 1. And the glove is found right behind this blue garbage can to the right a little bit. So let's see if it was there on day 1. As we can see, here's a reporter. She's standing out there. And we can see the blue garbage can. The glove that was supposedly found was found about approximately right here, just maybe less than a foot away from this tire. And as we kind of zoom in here, we don't see any glove. It would have been right here. And so I'm going to overlay the 2 photos so you can kind of see almost exactly where the glove would have been found. And there is no glove in sight. So here's the glove. I'm going to kind of overlay the 2 photos. And you can see where the garbage can, it's not quite perfectly lined up, but the garbage can is in the photo with the glove. And so this is where the glove should have been found. Obviously now there's snow. And as we can kind of see as I overlay, and I'm going to do it one more time. So if we overlay the 2 pictures, there is no glove to be found. So this glove was actually identified as coming from one of the forensic teams. So Tan Hat Guy said that Maddie, which is her in the black coat, and we got Kaylee, who's just a little bit shorter than Maddie, here in the gray sweatshirt. So apparently, before this, they were at the corner bar. There was a little incident with the Tan Hat Guy, and he said that Maddie had bumped into him. She was kind of drinking a lot, and she said she kind of stunk, and so he responded with "ew."
Hey, when you're standing talking to friends and somebody really drunk, like they smell drunk, they're like bouncing around and they bump into you and like rub up against you, like it's gross.
So here's Tan Hat Guy just talking in a TikTok video. So we're going to skip it forward here. So we got hoodie guy and tan hat guy. He's kind of, there's a little incident where the hoodie guy points right here. They start talking about maybe the incident at the bar with the tan hat guy and hoodie guy. And then she puts her hand up, kind of says, hey, I see you guys. And shortly after she puts her hand up, tan hat guy is going to put his hand out. And I think he's just describing that, she bumped into him, and maybe he's like, yeah, I had to kind of push her off, stay away from me, something kind of like to that effect. So here we go. He puts his hand out. As soon as he puts his hand out is when she says, F you. And points. And I think she's pointing to this guy. But there's a little bit more to this now. Now people were saying that they can hear where she says, we would never F you. And actually, those words are said, but the problem is there's a gap between we'd never and F you. So I think instead of it being like we'd never F you, I think she's responding to this incident and saying, we never F you. As in like we had like some kind of engagement, at the bar or whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to play the audio with it kind of expanded.
Rush. It's a good thing that it ended,
but she says, we never, and then there's a little bit of space, and then F you. So I don't think it's we'd never F you, it's we'd never F you.
Rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but...
So yeah, there's a big gap, and we'll look at the audio here. So here she says, we'd never, and then F you starts about a second later. So it's not just one sentence. I think it's, we'd never F you. So I think she's just still going back to my original theory where she's just kind of responding to the incident that. So that's what I think is going on.
Rush. It's a good thing that it ended, but.
Moving on to part 4. So the light source, which was huge a week ago. I think some people have kind of figured it out, but I wanted to show you guys. This is what my conclusion is. So just to context, this is coming from the body cam footage of the officers responding to the 3 teenagers that were underage drinking. So this officer is walking back to his vehicle or to work. We have this little light going off in the background for a little bit. Now keep in mind this is a little after 3 a.m. So this could have been when around that or just before the attack happened with the students. So to get an idea of where this light source is coming from, we have to kind of overlay a screenshot of the road, which is he's about here, but obviously he's back more. So we're going to overlay. Our best point of reference would be this light, which is the second floor window. This direction, because it's kind of in between the 2 buildings, but this building on the right is slightly shorter right here. So that's why we can kind of see the light. You can almost kind of make up the roof here. The building to the left is quite much taller. So we know it's kind of at an angle. Here's kind of that little gap in between the homes, which is here. So the light source is kind of coming almost just to the left of this pole right here. So if we look at the line of sight and we just kind of follow it, it leads us to this kind of area right here, which is something I missed the first time I was doing the research on this. So here's me just kind of overlaying the photo. And this is where I think the source is coming from. So this is the road directly behind, just a little bit above the homes where the students were murdered, which is kind of where I'm circling right here. And so I think the light source is coming from around this home right here. There's a couple of things that this home has. So it looks like there's a light source right here that could have been what caused that light. It's almost just in the right area. It looks like a pretty big light. There's also what looks to be possibly a motion sensor right here. It could be the light source. And then there also could have been a car that, now the driveway is kind of like to the right, but there's areas to park right here. There could have been a car pulled up just to where these logs are at and shining this way. And so I think it's one of these 3 here, in my opinion. So number 5, the scream, which kind of got really out of hand. So a neighbor that was interviewed recently by the Idaho Statesman, which is a local news, and they interviewed a neighbor that's to the east of the home. And so the neighbor says he heard what sounded like a scream after he got home around 1:30. He also did see what looked like a black luxury SUV when he got home, which is interesting. But he says as he dozed off around 4 a.m., he assumed it was a party sound. And that's why I guess he didn't say anything in the beginning. But, 3-4 weeks later, he came forward and he said, I didn't think anything of it. But after what happened, I definitely have second thoughts. And maybe it wasn't a party sound. And basically, he heard a scream. And so, soon as this came out that same day is when a certain YouTuber went to Daily Mail, altered the HTML code, basically altering what it says on the website, and then took a screenshot and said that not only did this Enan Harsh say that he heard a scream, but he recorded it. But that wasn't true. The scream part he says is true, and he still backs it up to this day. So, which I think is really important, because if that's true, then that adds kind of to the timeline that maybe the attacks happened closer to 4 a.m. But there is something that was kind of caught, and that is on the body cam footage. There is also what sounds to be like a kind of like a scream or a mechanical noise. And so I'm going to play that. That's real short, but it's at 3:12:45. It's real quick. It does sound kind of distant. So this came out just shortly after the body cam footage. And so I think it is some brake sounds. And so I'm going to go ahead and play.
Your brakes ever squealed? Your brakes ever squealed? Your brakes ever squealed?
So that's what I think it most likely is, some kind of mechanical. Some people say owl. So that's 5 interesting facts that have kind of came out about the case that have been kind of misreported in some way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you'd like to support this channel, please consider becoming a member. Today's missing person case is Luciana Mungaya, missing from Yakima, Washington. He went missing in September. Please take a close look. Please take care of yourself and be sure to tell someone you love them. And I love you all. Thank you.